from Coca. He is the Red Zerg player from France. It's Denver. Help if I did some camera stuff on that.
And his opponent. In the top right-hand side from Team Exxon, possibly, and I don't want to ruffle too many feathers here, the most handsome player of all three races. It's unfair to the rest of us how good-looking this guy is. And he doesn't play StarCraft too bad either there, Grant. It's Gerald. I mean, what a guy. Again, not just handsome, but lives in a fresh apartment, hangs out with the hottest dudes, eats at the best restaurant, whatever the meme is. You know how things go. But you know what's not a meme right now is Denver, because already something sneaky going down here in DreamHack Winter.
Yeah, and I like this on Oxeye, because if you look at Geralt's main ramp, it's very, very wide. It takes 3 buildings to wall off, and a lot of Protoss players won't get that 3rd building until they know it's like necessary. They'll try to skip out on that gateway or use their 3rd building as tech or something like that. You can see here Gerald right now, he's just getting his normal gateway and going for his expansion. He has scouted, okay, so he should have cybernetics core before Nexus if he wants to be safe, and that's it. And the Zealot, fantastic read so far here from Gerald. Now he should feel safe to get his Nexus, and the Probe Scout, very important. But he needs to know what the follow-up is. We can see Denver is sitting at nearly 100 gas and should be starting off that speed. Wow, so Roach Warren, okay. Now this is difficult for Gerald because he hasn't scouted this. He's seen the Lings, he's seen that there was gas being banked, and we can assume that it will be a Ling Flood or a Baneling Bust or something along those lines. But no, it is that Roach Warren. And what is the response going to be? I'd like to see maybe a very quick Stargate here from Gerald. He's going to get the Adept to get a little bit more information. He's going to get in with a probe. This is so big.
Is he going to see it? Is he going to see it? Is he going to see it? He doesn't see it. Does he see it?
Wait, did he see it? Yeah, sorry.
Oh, thank goodness. I thought that probe was like 1 pixel away from missing it. Very close, though, Grant. So immediately, Geralt throws down a Stargate to respond to the Roach Warren. Grant, tell us why a Protoss player would build a building that only creates air units when you're going to be up against a rush from a lot of ground units. What unit could Geralt possibly be thinking of that might defend against an early game Roach timing from Denver?
So what you do is you get these Tempests. No. Of course,
Wait a minute.
Void Rays.
Okay. Say more. Oh, okay.
Void Rays with the prismatic alignment, just incredible. Now we see a lot of Lings coming out. It looks like Denver is going to try and adjust slightly, expecting the response. These players playing 5D chess want to see something, so they change it a bit. There isn't that many Roaches within this, only 3 and 1 Ravager. And the push now starting to move across the map here. Denver moving across with his first Roaches. We will see Chrono most likely going in here to the Void Ray, and exactly that is what it's going to be. No batteries, that's brave, but a complete wall with the Zealot in the front here for Geralt. That will stop these Lings from getting in and being annoying, because the Void Ray, despite its incredible defensive prowess against the Roaches and the Ravagers, very slow. Lings can exploit that lack of maneuverability, that lack of speed. And now that first Void Ray coming out, needs to make sure he doesn't get biled here, of course. We see the prismatic alignment coming in, and Creighton, I think it's looking probably not too bad right now for the Polish Protoss. Going to lose a few workers.
Yeah, it's all going to come down to what Denver focus fires here. And Denver maybe not making the best choices in the world with what to go for. A little surprised to see him trying to barge his way up into the main base with not much left in his army. Sure, look, he's going to get 8 probe kills, and that's great. Maybe a few more as the Lings continue to flood in. I don't think so. 9 probe kills are fine, and you might think, wow, 9 probe kills this early in the game. This is over for Geralt, but Grant, look at the worker count. Even with these last couple probes going down, it's still roughly even worker count, which of course benefits the Protoss player a little bit. And of course, more importantly, Geralt still has his infrastructure in place. I'll be honest, I'm a bit surprised that Denver did not target fire down that cyber core. I think had he focus fired with the Roaches and Corrosive Biles, he may have had a very real chance of taking down that cyber core, preventing warp gate research, preventing shield batteries from going down, and really slowing down the tech of Geralt. Instead, he was a little greedy and went for the probe lines, and I think he's going to pay the price here. This should be a hold for Geralt.
I think Geralt may be slightly sloppy in some of his micro here. He didn't need to lose 15 workers, probably could have limited it to closer to 10, but he isn't dead. He has very strong tech, as you so elegantly pointed out. He's equal on bases against a Zerg player. He's going to be up in workers in not too long, really. He's not going to take any more damage by the looks of it. Very nice continued wall off here. His gateway may go down, but if it does, I mean, the Oracle's going to come back. They're not going to get any follow-up damage as a sentry here. No more damage to be found. And this is without Gerald overcommitting to batteries and things like that, so he didn't have to spend that money. I was a little bit nervous for him not having any batteries, but it's worked out so well. And now Gerald's tech is just so good because he left trying to start up here for Denver, but it's pretty rough. Denver, 6 minutes in, still no third. We've seen some Zergs. We saw Bly take that before the 2-minute mark in our previous series.
Yeah, absolutely. As you said, it's very common for Zerg players to have a third base down by now. It's very surprising when a Zerg doesn't have a third base down by now. And the fact that Denver is not banking a lot of minerals, he's not sending a drone over, and of course Gerald has complete control of the airspace at both potential third base locations, says to me that Denver might just be staying on 2 bases here, which is so unsustainable as to be as bad as several third world economies that I studied during my master's degree, Grant. I mean, there is just no way Denver can stay on 2 bases and last for too much longer in this fight. And as we see, he's going for the infestation pit, and this gives him all sorts of options as the game goes on, but all of them going to be hamstrung by his economy.
Yeah, so the infestation pit is a little strange. I'm trying to think what he's going to go for with this. 2-base Nidus Swarm Host, maybe. We have the Oracles coming in. They're just finding a lot of damage here. 3 workers may not sound not too much. He doesn't want to lose the Oracle, and he does. But it's really, that's, you know, not far off 10% of the economy right now for Denver, and Gerald behind this is going to be looking to get his third pretty soon. He has almost complete control of the map with these air units. He's getting a prism, he's getting 3 gateways. It is going to be Swarm Host here, and we should see the Nidus Worm going down, and that is it. God damn, Grant, you're good at this game. But I mean, the prism, this is very, very scary. Gerald's going to see it really soon as well, because he has all of these air units. And I don't know, man. It is a very desperate move here for Denver.
Look, even if Gerald doesn't see that Nidus Worm anytime, he's already seen the infestation pit, and 2-base infestation pit play is so rare as to be. I mean, there are only about 2 or 3 options you can do with it. I would be unsurprised to think if Gerald is already expecting this Nidus Worm play, and you can see him. Look at this, patrolling around with some stalkers, keeping those Void Rays and Oracles active on the map, trying to hunt down Overlords. The Nidus Worm does go down at the 12 o'clock here, but I don't even think Gerald's going to respond to it. The Swarm Host count is at 8, going to be at 11 soon, which is really decent, but Gerald can push forward with a big army here, warp in from that massive number of gates he just finished a while ago, and he's going to have a really easy time, I think, pushing through here on 5 gates.
Yeah, the Swarm Host are being forced to be used defensively here, which means there isn't really going to be much damage. There's like, what, 6 locusts here? A few stalkers and maybe a super battery. If even a super battery, they're going to be able to hold this with ease. Gerald is getting his third. He sees where the Nidus is. 1 locust, I mean, you tried. But this is fine for Gerald. Once again, he's up in bases against the Zerg player. His tech is incredible. He's getting blink. He can start. I'm kind of surprised to see him maybe not look to go a little bit heavier into the air tech here. There's a lot of Swarm Hosts coming out here. And because this is a rarer build, there is the possibility that Gerald isn't certain how to handle it. I mean, we're looking at soon to be 19 Swarm Hosts, Creighton. Nice find here,
yeah, that's a crap ton of Swarm Hosts, and I will say the opening salvos from Denver with Swarm Hosts actually looked a little bit better than I thought they might. Gerald was pushing in here with a strong army, and Denver did leave a few Swarm Hosts back home to defend against that, just scared Gerald away, and pushed a few out here at the 12 o'clock base. And remember, guys, we as StarCraft fans have a real problem sometimes of looking at army supply and going, wow, a lot of army supply is a good thing, but only if a lot of army supply is doing something. And so far, Gerald has spent most of his army's time wandering back and forth across the map trying to defend against these Swarm Hosts. So Denver is really utilizing these Swarm Hosts' positional play exactly as they're intended to be, and Gerald has not been able to muster up a giant force yet, despite having a pretty significant economic lead for the entire game.
This is so beautiful from Gerald. He's hitting on different flanks with Stalkers and Void Rays, just pushing down, just getting a couple of Swarm Hosts, just keeping the numbers thin because he knows this isn't sustainable, as you said. It's still a 2-base Zerg, and Gerald has already fully saturated the minerals of his third. He's doing a great job of not taking any further damage. He's pressuring constantly, and now we should see a blink forward. Oh. And look, what are the Swarm Hosts going to do? They cannot defend themselves.
Man, you love to see it as a Protoss player, and you hate to see it. You know what? I'll take that back. You love to see it as anyone who You love to see it as anyone who is forced to sit through an hour-long game in any Heart of the Swarm tournament. Watching Swarm hosts die still gives me a small measure of happiness, no matter what. Just because I had to live through Heart of the Swarm era where Swarm host Nidus was the law of the land. A good win there from Gerald, a little sloppy at points, and honestly, Denver digging himself out of a hole fairly well for that series, but not quite enough to pull it out. And Gerald maintains a lead, keeps a cool head against a tech transition, and really makes it work. Great play from a handsome player.
Yeah, really, really well played here from Gerald, who really exploded during DreamHack Fall. I've got to say, what did I do?
No, I just got to be careful. I'm going to get me too'd by Geralt here if I keep calling him handsome and gorgeous and everything.
Don't worry.
I genuinely intend them as compliments, and he's a phenomenally talented player. I'm just trying to poke a little fun at how goddamn handsome the man is. So I got to be careful though. But sorry, go with your actual analysis, Grant.
I've lost it now. Don't worry. I am already in trouble with Geralt because I promised I'd send him a new microphone because I have a new microphone. I was going to send him my old one, and I forgot.
Grant.
I know. He's probably messaging me. He DM'd me, and I forgot to reply to that as well. I'm a busy guy. I'm not. But guys, thank you so much for joining us here today. We're having a lot of fun. This is the first day of DreamHack, and it's a real honor for me and Creighton to be back. This is our favorite thing to do.
Man.
And what DreamHack don't realize is we do it for free. Suckers. We won't do it for free. No, we've already agreed. We are getting into our second map, which will be Romanticide, made by the very talented Maris, one of my favorite maps of this new map pool.
She's great.
She is, and she's lovely too, because I've had the chance to meet her.
Now, Grant, I will say I had a wacky map tournament yesterday.
I watched a couple of
Yeah, one of Maris's maps got in. Do you remember the map Candy Fever?
Nope.
Oh my God, Grant, if you get the chance in between games, check out the map Candy Fever. It's like a normal map, but if Willy Wonka designed StarCraft
beautiful. That's my favorite thing about Maris, and I really hope she's watching.
It looks so good.
Because like Disco Bloodbath back 3 map pools ago, a beautiful map, and even Romanticide, I loved like the purple trees, and now you're telling me there's a Candyland one?
Oh, go check out Candy Fever. It's like a standard map, like legit. It could be in the map pool, and it looks beautiful. But we should probably get in and introduce our players here. Take it away, Grant.
In the bottom right, representing Exxon, he is the Polish Protoss player, known for his love of The Witcher and kicking ass in StarCraft. It is Geralt.
And his opponent in the top left-hand side in the blue, representing France, and with a sponsorship from Team Coca Authentica Pepite, it is Denver.
God damn.
Guys, hey, my French is good. I even know what Petit Drogo's name means in French.
Little dragon, right?
I was just going to say Petite Dragon, but yes, whatever. Little Drogo.
It's cute. Not as cute as Lily Kane, which is
that's true.
Funny.
It's top notch. It's top notch.
Guys, I have adjusted my mic. Please let me know if it's any better. I've turned the gain up a little bit. I have a whole new board, and I don't know what I'm doing with it. So hopefully the levels are a little bit better now.
Do you realize that your audio clipped as soon as you said I have a new soundboard? So all we heard was I have a new soundboard.
So I'm trying
to show off how good you are. And oops.
And you're the same, because I can see your webcam in game. I use my arms a lot.
Oh yeah. I'm used to having my face on the screen while I cast games, and I talk with my hands like I'm an Italian person. So it's just like all the time. I'm like, oh, this is really cool because, and I'll realize I'm pointing at something that no one but me can see.
Yes, me too. Hashtag.
Terrible. Terrible.
Hashtag me too.
Grant, come on now. We got the standard openers, though. It looks like from both players, really. Hatch Gas Pool out of Denver here, and Geralt just being pretty cautious on the low ground. Look, Geralt got a good scout out with that probe. He's seen the timings. He knows the naturals down in good time. There's no problems with either of these builds, and it's exactly what you hope to see as we go into a Game 2 in DreamHack. Grant, there is so much at stake here. I'm not surprised to see these players doing standard openings. I expect we'll see some cheese a little bit later, but for these first games, the players have had about, 48 hours to prepare for their opponent?
Yep.
I'm sure they have very specific strategies for the mid and late game ready to go.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing I think we'd be remiss not to mention is that Denver has not been well. I think you know a little bit more about this than I, but he has been extraordinarily omega epidemically sick. I believe you said that he has been recovering from COVID.
I believe so. I believe he tweeted about it publicly on Twitter. Poor guy.
Yeah.
So it's always tough when a player comes down with an illness. Now, luckily, of course, for Denver, this is not like a long-term arm or wrist or repetitive strain injury or something like we see in some other players. So we can all just wish him a really good recovery. But look, this speaks to how good of a player Denver really is because he was struggling through the worst of his illness during the qualifiers for this event, which means he qualified for the most competitive EU tournament in the world
with coronavirus.
And again, I don't know the extent of his illness. We don't need to talk about it too much because that's his own personal business. But what a show of force from a player to struggle through an illness and still qualify for this event. It's going to be great.
Yeah, and hopefully as he feels a little bit better and he regains a lot of his strength, we will get the opportunity to see him really show some incredible games because he's an incredibly good player. But Gerald, whatever we want to call him right now, he's ascended, right? He in DreamHack Fall, which was about 2 months ago, he really hit his stride and was getting some great wins against some incredibly good players. So really people starting to notice him as maybe one of those top tier players on par with people like Showtime. But I mean, this is the event now. You can have one lucky event, but now you got to back it up. And so far so good, man. He's looking pretty strong.
You bring up a great point there, Grant. Anybody can have one good event, right? Anybody can have one good showing where you think, wow, this guy's been hiding from us the whole time, just kind of riding a high for a little while. It's possible in almost every sport I can think of where one good game or one good result does not equate to a longer term trend. So I think there's a lot of pressure on Gerald's shoulders right now to really show himself that, hey, I'm not a flash in the pan. I'm not just a one-time got lucky kind of guy, made it deep in the bracket stage, unhorsed some big names. I genuinely have the long-term staying power to make it in this esport, and I really hope he shows us that. I love him as a player. He's creative. He's strong defensively. He really has a well-rounded skill set. You know, I don't want to pick on Bly because Bly also has a well-rounded skill set, but Bly's well-rounded skill set is anchored by this chaos that he creates in the early game, these unorthodox strategies. He can follow it up with great play, but he really relies on consistent results through chaos, whereas Gerald seems to just have good macro, good micro, a well-balanced set of skills here. He's going up for 5 oracles, which, as I say, standard play from Gerald all the time. Oops. He's going for 5 oracles, which is a little bit much, but we'll see if he can get anything done with his first push. 4 oracles and a bunch of adepts. No blade.
Yeah, so this has kind of become more standard Gerald. He really likes this. He loves stasis wards. Like, he properly loves stasis wards. Like, people on Twitter love K-pop, he loves stasis wards. And now we can see with the oracles coming in as well, the DPS level of the army he has is very strong. And 5, 6 oracles are able to take out queens, they're able to take out roaches, he's able to clear creep very, very effectively. And they're going to continue to build up energy and be, look at how quick the queens go down.
Goodness gracious, and good rotations here from Gerald as well, trying to get those weakened oracles out. He does lose 1 oracle and will lose a lot of these adepts, actually.
This was good for Denver.
Second oracle, yeah, that was really good for Denver, actually. I definitely thought Gerald was going to get a bit more damage done there, but 2 of the oracles go down. Lost 8 adepts in this push. The adepts unable to get in the drone line at all. That's a hold for our Zerg player. It looked much stronger for Gerald at the beginning here, but Denver with some good surface area on those adepts, and now this little run by might be pretty brutal. These probes have nowhere to run to.
Yeah, there's a sentry here that maybe could have force fielded early, but it's not going to happen, and now we'll have to force field to try and save its own life. Doesn't happen. It does look like the Immortal is going to be safe, though, and that's the key power unit here, as the Oracles are forced to come home. At the other side of the map, I think an Adept, a couple of Adepts are able to get in and find a couple of drones. This is nice. This is what Gerald wants to be doing. Both players at a very even point in the game right now. Upgrades are Protoss a little bit ahead, and with Chrono he should pull a little bit more ahead, but the Spire is nearly done here for Denver, and this is cool play. Has this been seen, Creighton? I'm gonna look. No.
No, it definitely has not yet, which is a little surprising considering there were so many oracles in the field earlier.
Yeah.
What I'm more concerned about, of course, the 8 Mutalisks on the way, a very real concern. 3
Phoenix
oracles
production.
cannot fight against those Mutas. I was a bit concerned. I was going to say that Robo Bay went down for Gerald at the 3rd base, and now he's canceled it, instead opting for a 2nd Robo to get out, I believe, more Immortals probably, to stay on the ground. Not spotting the Spire is really going to hurt him. The more Immortals he makes, the worse this gets for Gerald.
Yeah, he made 1 Phoenix and he's continuing to chrono Phoenixes. I think he has some idea. He's not seen Hydras. Has he even seen any Roaches? No. So he knows, like, where's the money? You know, that's what you have to think of when you're playing StarCraft. Where's the frickin' money? Now, the robotics bay in the main has now completed and Colossus production has begun. Blink is about 2/3 of the way done, so he has partially the tools to deal with Mutalisk. The first few coming in here and a few Phoenixes with great micro and a shield battery able to do a lot in terms of holding. And so far, okay defense here from Gerald. The main pressure point, I think, right now for him is going to be this 4th base. He needs to establish it in order to be able to afford all of this tech. He's moving up to robotics bay, plus his Twilight Council upgrades, plus general upgrades, plus another Stargate. It's very expensive. This is a lot of Mutalisk right now. And Lings, as I said, they are going to go and pressure that 4th base, and there's just nothing Geralt can do. He's going to have to cancel.
He's going to have to cancel. He's going to have to cancel. He's going to have to cancel. He's going to have to cancel. Oh my gosh, he doesn't cancel. Tries to save it here with a Phoenix, but these Mutalisk are going to come back with enough Ling power. That's a huge mistake from Geralt right now. Overconfidence, a little too much hubris maybe, and he's going to lose that 4th base and an Immortal to boot. This is terrible, Grant. This is exactly what he did not want to happen. The last 30 seconds of this game has gone terribly for Geralt. You were talking a little bit earlier about his tech choices, and it's possible I've been playing too many strategy sim games like Crusader Kings 3, but it seems to me like Geralt is building a very tall army right now.
Yes.
Ling, Muta. Does he even have Banes out? No Banes. Just straight Ling, Muta, which means the upgrades are going to favor, like, he can just go flyer and melee upgrades, and that's all he has to pump out the whole game. Still difficult to deal with. Geralt is trying to build a Robo Bay and a Fleet Beacon and Colossi and get the Phoenix Anion Pulse Crystal upgrade. Like, he's trying to get to this Phoenix Colossus play, but he's got to spread his upgrades and his infrastructure out a little bit more, so he's going to find himself in a very, very weak position in the game for a good solid minute or even 2 minutes more. And until we hit 12 minutes in this game, I think Denver's going to have all of the initiative to be able to attack a little bit more aggressively.
Yeah, the Mutas just seem to have control right now. This map, very, very favorable for Mutalisk play. Even a Colossus caught out in the open now, it will go down to the Lings. And this is just starting to get a little bit scary for Geralt. He's down 60 supply. The Colossus in the back trying to defend, but there's just not that much to deal with the Mutalisk anymore. Micro from these Phoenixes will need to be perfect because that Pulse Crystal's upgrade not done, and Denver evens up the series, coronavirus or not.
Denver fighting through to give us our first game 3 of the day, and so well played there. You know, guys, Geralt looked so strong in the early game, and then, like we said, his tech transition just a little bit botched. I think he was thrown off his rhythm a little bit by the continued run-bys, the Mutalisk harassment that he straight up did not see coming until it was too late. He suspected it was there, and that's why he transitioned, but he didn't transition ahead of time. So he's kind of playing catch-up, pardon me, for the last portion of the game there. And you can see how bad it is when you don't get a read early enough. Isn't it crazy that, like, he still knew what was coming? He still prepared for it, but since he didn't prepare early enough, it just straight up didn't work for him. And that game really, I think, on his shoulders. He had a very real chance to win there.
Yeah, it was the Mutalisk transition did catch him off guard. I think he realized it just, you said this earlier, StarCraft is a game where a second can equal a lot. And if he'd have just realized a little bit earlier that the transitions hadn't come at a time when it should, he probably would have been able to determine it was Mutas. But he didn't start building Phoenixes until Mutalists were already on the field or about to be on the field. And that means he just didn't have the numbers to be able to kite. He couldn't get his 4th up safely. That getting cancelled was a big moment. And now we move on to oh my god, I hate the name of this map.
Jagannatha.
What? I can't say that. That's like something from Avatar.
It is. It's so Jagannatha is an Indian word, and it's where we get the root word for, like, juggernaut. It means emperor or it's an old word for emperor or ruler of some kind. A Jagannatha is like a religious and social leader in India in the century.
Just to, like, bamboozle me?
No, I'm genuinely sincere. Jagannatha is an old word that we now use to mean, like, it's where Juggernaut comes from, basically. So this should be Juggernaut Jason's favorite map. And I think he did mention on the Pylon show that they named it after him. So I'm pretty sure that's where it came from.
That's sick.
I don't know about the Juggernaut Jason thing, but it is actually the root word for the word Juggernaut.
And in the bottom left, he is a Juggernaut of Protoss, playing for Exxon Gaming, the Protoss player. In the red, I've lost my keys to spin the camera. It's making me sad.
Just follow my camera. I got you.
All right. It's Geralt.
There we go. And his French opponent in the top right-hand side in the blue. Again, with that sponsorship from Team Coca Authentica Pepite, it is Denver. T-Cap Their logo is a gold nugget. It looks so
Nice.
cool, man. It looks so cool. Now we got we had a little sneaky. He was trying to pull 2 drones, I think, down accidentally, or trying to pull 1 down, but accidentally selected 2. But it is just going to be another hatch opener here for Denver, which looks really good. Again, now Grant, let's talk about these players' potential early game, mid game, and a late game, because I think that's something that a lot of people don't know about with these players who are, everybody's like, oh, Serral's such a famous late game player. Once he gets to the late game, he's unbeatable. But with players like this, we might not be as certain. So I think we can start with maybe with Gerald and just talk about what he normally does in the early game and how strong he feels as he goes through the game.
So I feel like Gerald has 2 modes. He has Stargate mode and he has Adept mode. And I think typically at this point, he's favoring going Stargate, and he does want to get into a later stage of the game. It's very, very prevalent in his PvP, but generally if it's in one matchup, it will favor another 2, where he likes to get late game. He can be a bit scrappy in the early games, as we saw in map 2, but if he can get to the late game scenario, his control of his large armies and run-bys are some of the best we see with any Protoss player. Denver, on the other hand, I think Denver's very all-round. I think he's comfortable playing any style. We saw him go for an early game. He kind of forced into it in map 1. In that map, he went into sort of a mid-game, very aggressive tech switch or tech surprise. And I'm excited to see where he goes here in map 3.
Yeah, me too. These players just going to be such a good matchup here, and the proxy Stargate from Gerald. It's so funny that you say Gerald has 2 modes, and then you name exactly what his build is going to be. It's almost, Grant, like you know what he's talking about, like you know what you're talking about.
I don't. Fake it till you make it, boys. You're on cam, by the way.
That's the way it works. Yeah, we're back off of the game here. A quick pause requested from Denver.
Yep.
I'm going to guess he's got a cat walking across his keyboard that then spilled his mocha onto the Eiffel Tower, and he's paying the fine to the gendarmes now that every French player or every French person has to do when they spill their latte onto the Eiffel Tower. But it looks like he's paid that fine, and I think we're back in game.
He probably just had to cough.
Probably had to what? Oh, that's also possible. But I like the idea of his cat spilling his latte out his window onto the Eiffel Tower.
I don't know if there's any houses that are above the Eiffel Tower.
I know that if you have a house with a view to the Eiffel Tower, it's insanely expensive.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, what have we got going on this game?
I've seen pictures of cardboard boxes in Paris that have a window cut out of them looking at the Eiffel Tower, and they're like, this is €10,000 a month. That's Paris.
Insane. Now, we have a proxy, Creighton Olsen. And we just said how much Gerald wants to get to the late game. But this game, he has gone for something a little more early oriented. He's gone for very, very quick oracles that are proxied. Is he going to let them build up to more than 1? I'm curious to see that. Has that Stargate at the 4 o'clock position has finished up. First oracle will be popping out now. Is he going to send it straight into the main? Yes, it looks like he is. I wouldn't be surprised to see Gerald continue oracle production and keep his adepts going behind this. We do have very well timed spores here, and of course the queen is here, so it doesn't look like this will get a lot of damage. Nice control here, or nice game sense and read here from Denver to not, even 5 seconds later that would have been 4 or 5 dead drones. But very, very nice so far here from Gerald, who's now going to track this and even go and shut down any more being built.
As you said, very good read there from Denver. The timing on the spore, absolutely beautiful. He could not have prepared for that any better if he had actually seen the proxy Stargate, which he finally has now. Yeah. I'm honestly a little surprised to see Gerald finishing that second oracle after the first one got so roundly rejected. I don't expect to see anything else coming out of that spore crawler, though. I'm pretty sure that we're going to see some really nice oracle play. Oh, pardon me, not oracle play anymore. Some really nice adept play behind this.
Yeah, we see the Twilight Council finishing. Now, Denver, being very much influenced by the likes of Serral, has gone for that early Overlord speed, and it is going to be Blink. Wow, so Gerald is going to do something a little bit unexpected. You don't see a lot of this these days, of Stargate into Blink. It isn't, this isn't the first time it's ever been done, but Glaives is the much more common upgrade coming out of that Twilight Council first of all here.
I've been seeing more I've been seeing more Blink these days, Grant, which is a little surprising from Protoss players. You're absolutely correct. Glaives is a much more traditional orthodox choice after the Stargate opener doesn't get a lot of damage done, just because Glaives is pretty easy to follow up and you can put pressure in multiple locations on the map at once, especially if you've forced out Spore Crawlers and static defense. But for some reason, the last couple days, I've been seeing a little bit more Blink after Stargate play, which is a little surprising, although I will say the mobility of Blink Stalkers is always a good thing.
And the meta does come and go with these different things. Players get very good at dealing with one thing, so you throw them something they're not as used to, and that's what we're seeing here with Blink coming back into prevalence, as Clayton has said, and I like it. Now, Denver hasn't got his 4th yet. He'll want to be looking, there we go. He's a good boy. Because Gerald does have his 3rd down at a very, very healthy time. He's getting a lot of gateways right now, and Blink is 4/5 of the way done, getting very close to completion. So we're going to see a lot of Blink Stalkers pressuring. There's a Spire down. I think this is a mystery here maybe by Denver, because this is going to be a lot of Blink Stalkers.
Oh, well, this is really interesting. Denver's giving himself 2 options, and it's rare to see this for a Zerg player. It's not super rare, but it's interesting to see this from a Zerg player where you go Lair Tech, and usually when you put down a Lair Tech as a Zerg player, like we saw last game, right, where Denver was like, I'm going to stick on one tech. I'm going to go Ling Muta, and that's all I'm going to build, and that way I don't have to spread my options out anymore. I know what I'm going to do. This game, getting both Roach speed and Aspire is really gas intensive. Luckily, he's got that 4th down a little bit earlier than otherwise, and he may be able to have a little bit more damage done from one of these 2 options, but I'm a little surprised to see him going both Speed Roaches and Aspire for the Mutalisks. The Adept barely gets in, misses the Spire though. Gerald, I don't know, what do you think? Is Blink Stalker going to be good against this Speed Roach and or Mutalisk play?
As long as he transitions behind it, which he is, I like it as a mid-game control option here. He's going to be able to get out on the map. He still has his 2 Oracles, which are going to be able to also offer that harassment opportunity or even just vision game. And a lot of Blink Stalkers, we've seen Protoss players like Goblin do this as well, where you just make 9 million and try and snipe the 4th base.
Right.
He's not moving out though so far. Gerald playing maybe a little bit too defensive for my likings. It does seem like he wants to make sure he can get his Robotics Bay up, which will have been scouted by those Lings here, and start moving into either Colossus or Disruptor production, and it will be those dancing disco balls of death coming out here from Gerald. Denver going to lose a couple of drones here. This 4th place not going to be able to be saturated too quick. The Oracles starting to pay for themselves a little bit more here. And we do see the Mutalisks have been shown.
And shown in a glorious way, picking off both of those. Oh my god, the one Orca lives with 2 hit points remaining.
Easy.
What
Not
on
even
earth?
close, baby. Just kidding.
There it is. That one Mutant was like, oh, free kill, boys. I got this. And that's a little, okay, and
talking
nice
about free
counter pressure there.
kills.
Good blink for Gerald there. A little bit too aggressive with Denver. Both of these players reading the situation really well. But you're absolutely correct earlier. Gerald just playing really defensively this game. I'm not sure that's the right option. Denver getting up to 81 workers already, and he's going to jump straight on top of this Disruptor. Nice splits there by Denver. Beautiful. The Disruptor saves itself, but gorgeous from Denver not eating that shot. And he still has all these Lings, Roaches, and Ravagers ready to go. But Gerald, as you said, tons of Blink Stalkers here. Disruptors on the way, and another Stargate behind this for Gerald. Again, spreading himself wide rather than going tall.
Yeah, and I think the second Stargate is possibly because upgrades are very late here for both players, to be honest.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Stalker's going to try and micro back here. Going to be able to try pretty efficiently against this army. Doesn't want to be losing too much, though, because it does look like Denver is gearing up to be aggressive. He's got a lot of Lings right now. If we take a look, there's 40, 50, nearly 60 Lings, 15 Mutas, 10 Roaches, a few Ravagers here. So a very large army, 106 army supply. And Gerald trying to just shave off some of these armies. But I'm a little bit worried about the potential here for... Why is there a dog there? About the potential here for Denver to split his army into multiple sort of forces and attack in 3 or 4 places at once, because Gerald's army needs to be together. Stalkers need to be en masse, and this is now going to be very, very scary. Super Patcher comes in, but there's so many Lings here.
Denver really abusing the position he has, splitting his army up into a north flank and a south flank, absolutely ravaging the probe line here at the third base, using some cute hold position micro. And look at this, Colossus pops out, surrounded by Lings immediately, and this is terrible for Gerald. Again, trying to transition to this Phoenix Colossus play potentially, but just not reading the situation well at all, allowing Denver to macro behind this. And Denver now has Mutas in the main, Lings in the third, and Roach Ravager coming out to the natural. He is all over the map right now.
And this is
bad
what
for Gerald.
This is what I said. Stalkers cannot split up this well. He's trying to get some Phoenixes. He's trying to get a little bit more of an army that can split up, but he doesn't have Zealot charge. He doesn't have any Zealots that could have dealt with the Lings. His army was all Stalker. And just, although it is a quick army, it's just not an army that can be split into 3 very well. You can see here, you split your army up and you lose one of them. He needs every Stalker right now. Gerald is down, and Denver picks up the series 2-1.